The 5 presidents of Africa who talk tough at the Western leaders but take no action to back their words. Number 1. President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana. He's one of the African presidents who talk tough and bold about Africa at the international stage, but with no action to back his words. Akufo-Addo has been the president of Ghana since January 2017 to date. These are some of his bold statements. Ghana, Beyond Aid, a vision announced by President Akufo-Addo in 2017 to pursue a foreign aid-free country and urge Africa to wean itself from the Western handouts. 7 years into his administration, Ghana has nothing to show for the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. Currently, Ghana is undergoing IMF bailout under Akufo-Addo government. President Akufo-Addo call on African leaders and diaspora Africans to unite and demand reparation for transatlantic slave trade and colonial-era damages to Africa. He made this call at the 5th Summit of Christchurch. Call at Élysée Palace in France in November 2023 and followed it up with a reparation conference in Accra. But the question is, where are the blueprints? These are lofty ideas, but we want actions to back them, going beyond the speeches. On LGBTQI issues in Ghana, the president assured the clergy and the general public in the previous years that he would not endorse LGBTQI operation in the republic. But in 2024, when Parliament enacted anti-LGBTQI bill, the president is reluctant to accent to the bill into law due to international pressure for cutting aid and other financial benefits to the country. Currently, the president is awaiting Supreme Court's ruling for him to either accent or not to. No. 2. President William Ruto of Kenya. He is the 5th and current president of Kenya since September 2022. President Ruto is the second most powerful and tough talker among African presidents who doesn't back his talks with actions. He made profound statements such as, It is not intelligent for the 54 African presidents to go and sit before one president from another country for a summit. Sometimes we are mistreated. We are loaded onto buses like school kids. It is not right. President Ruto in April 2023, Nairobi. He then suggested a 5-member delegation to represent African interest at such summits, which is a brilliant idea, and I support it 100%. When carried out, it will save the continent a lot of money. But the question is, what's the status of this brilliant idea? At New Global Financial Pact Summit in France in June 2023, President Ruto of Kenya called for fair international financial architecture with equal rights. He took on the Western world and questioned the status quo. But after the summit, what are the blueprint to championing this laudable idea? So we can only say tough talk with no action. How would that help the continent Africa? Hence, we are calling on these leaders to walk their talks with actions and deliverables. Number 3, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. He is the 5th and current president of South Africa since 2018. President Ramaphosa is one of the strong faces and hard-talking Africa presidents. At a summit, he raised concerns about unfulfilled promises made by the West to Africa and mentioned a $100 billion pledge that was never honored. He bemoans the West and America during the COVID-19 era by hoarding vaccines and betraying Africa. He admonished the international community to prioritize all human lives over profits during pandemics in order to save humanity. President Ramaphosa made mention of Africa's vaccine manufacturing initiative. Great idea, but what are they doing about the Africa Vaccine Manufacturing Initiative after the summit? Still no action, no blueprint. Why? Number 4, President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera of Malawi. He is a Malawian politician and theologian who has served as President of Malawi and Minister of Defense since June 2020. President Lazarus is one of the African leaders I admire for being bold. At the 78th General Assembly meeting in New York City, he asked the wealthy nations, Bretton Woods institutions, and IMF to cancel all debt for developing countries. But after that great speech and appeal, what next about the debt cancellation? Nothing has been heard after that. The question is why. I applaud him for fighting corruption in his government and cutting down the cost of government and holding his appointees accountable over the misuse of COVID fund. But I disagree with him on the policy of labor exportation to Israel. President Lazarus has signed a bilateral agreement with the Israeli government to send a number of Malawian youths to work on Israeli farms. No matter how good it looks, I see this as a legalized governmental modern-day slavery. Why can't the Malawi government invest in state-owned farms in order to create jobs for the youth, rather than exporting the future of the country in the name of solving unemployment? A theologian president coming up with such a cruel and shameful initiative to combat unemployment is disgraceful to the continent for an Africa country to be sponsoring self-imposed slavery on its citizenry, knowing the history of Africa. This must stop. There are more fertile lands in Africa than in Israel. Number 5, but not the least, is President Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of the Congo since January 2019. President Tshisekedi stood up to President Macron recently at a press conference when the French president seemed to be peddling untrue. President Tshisekedi is no nonsense man. He stands for his country and people. At his second term, inaugural address, President Tshisekedi called for a review of mining contracts signed with China by his predecessor, which he did. Though the Congolese government hailed the new Sycamines deal of $7 billion as unprecedented and inure to the benefit of its people, there are concerns of lack of transparency in the renegotiated deal. An expert said the understanding of the renegotiated deal was that the $7 billion would be paid out over 10 to 15 years in a deal he said appeared highly unfavorable to DRC. The question is why the whole renegotiated deal was wrapped in secrecy. Let us be open and honest to our people. So what then is Africa Union AU doing about all these laudable ideas as proposed by these individual presidents, namely, Africa Beyond Aid Agenda, demand for reparation on slavery and colonialism, cancellation of debts, new and fair international financial architecture with equal rights, Africa Vaccine Manufacturing Initiative, and 5-member delegation of Africa to One President summits. African presidents should move beyond the beautiful speeches and take action to deliver. Speeches don't count. Results count. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Bye.